I want to send, on my behalf and on behalf of my wife, and I'm sure on behalf of all of you, heartfelt condolences to the family of Senior Sergeant Major Raleb Nasser, of blessed memory, who fell today in battle in the Gaza Strip. The entire nation of Israel mourns together with the dear family. The entire nation of Israel salutes him for his bravery. I send wishes for a full and speedy recovery to the female and male soldiers who were injured in the same battle. I strengthen the hands of the soldiers and commanders. I have instructed the IDF to respond firmly and to further increase the pressure on Hamas. We are in the war of revival, the war of 7 fronts. This war has very heavy costs because each such loss is a world in itself. But we, as a people who desire life, have no choice but to continue and fight for our very existence until victory. Citizens of Israel, as your Prime Minister, I will not surrender. I will not surrender to the murderers who committed the most terrible massacre against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Such surrender would endanger the security of the state and put you at risk. We are at a decisive stage of the campaign, and at this stage, patience and determination are required to win. If we surrender to Hamas's dictates now, all the tremendous achievements we have gained, thanks to our fighters, thanks to our fallen, thanks to our heroic wounded, all these achievements will simply be lost. From the very beginning of the war, we heard calls for its end in surrender, and these calls have intensified recently. If I had surrendered to those calls, we would not have entered Rafah, we would not have captured the Philadelphia route, we would not have carried out the Beepers operation, we would not have eliminated Sinwar, Daif, Aniya, and also Nasrallah. We would not have created the conditions for the fall of Assad's regime and the severe blow to Iran's axis. And we would not have changed the face of the Middle East. We would simply have continued to live under an existential threat. And therefore, I want to say a few words to you about Iran. I am committed to preventing Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons. I do not give up on this. I do not relent. And I do not retreat from it. Not a millimeter. But the most amusing thing is to hear the criticisms from all those who oppose the many actions I led over the years to harm Iran's nuclear program, to delay it. Without these actions, Iran would have already had nuclear weapons 10 years ago. But many in this group who speak today systematically opposed all the actions I took and the aggressive policy I led. So apparently there is no limit to hypocrisy. And regarding Iran's proxy in Gaza, if we do not complete the destruction of Hamas's military and governmental capabilities, the next October 7th and the next kidnappings are only a matter of time. Hamas says they will do it. They intend to do it, and they are working to do it. Leaving Hamas's rule intact in Gaza would be a huge defeat for Israel and a massive victory for Iran. This weekend, Hamas once again rejected a proposal that could have led to the release of half of the living hostages still in Gaza and the return of many fallen soldiers. Hamas demands the end of the war and the maintenance of its rule. It also demands a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza and the reconstruction of Gaza with the infusion of massive capital, which would allow it to renew itself and prepare for further attacks on us. Ending the war under these terms of surrender would send a message to all of Israel's enemies that by kidnapping Israelis, they can bring the state of Israel to its knees, they can defeat us. This is also a deadly message that terrorism pays off, something that would harm the security of the entire free world. Of course, under these conditions, President Trump's important vision could not be realized either. The vision that would change the face of Gaza once and for all, and allow our country to live in security. Well, I clarify. We will not end the war of resurgence before we destroy Hamas in Gaza, before we return all our captives, and before we ensure that the Gaza Strip no longer poses a threat to Israel. Those elements in Israel who so irresponsibly call for ending the war under Hamas's surrender conditions, what are they doing? They are echoing, word for word, Hamas's propaganda. They are fueling the brutal psychological warfare that it conducts against us and also against the families. And they are distancing, not bringing closer, the release of the captives. They are leaving them there with Hamas for a longer time. The demands of Hamas, which were made known, he demanded them time and again in every release deal. I certainly am not. I am sure you supported us. There is no doubt that they are calling on us to surrender to Hamas's dictates, telling us, fold now, leave the Philadelphia corridor, give in to Hamas, promise not to return to them, and after Hamas returns all the hostages, return to them. They say this openly in the studios when the armed conflict is at its peak. Do you understand? They are essentially telling us, tell Hamas, we are informing you that we are lying to you, and agree to it. Hamas are a group of despicable murderers, but they are not stupid. They demand acceptable international guarantees that do not allow for the illusion of deception that all these self-satisfied experts offer us in the studios. They have no idea how the international system operates. No one, certainly not the United States, nor China, nor Russia, nor other countries, nor the Security Council, no one will cooperate with such a deception, something that would make returning to war impossible. We will have no legitimacy to do so. Remember how quickly Israel lost international legitimacy for the most justified war in our history? And this was after the Hamas monsters murdered over 1,200 of our citizens in one day and kidnapped more than 250 of them. Very quickly, the tide turned against us. The pressure, the political pressure was directed at us. We faced an arms embargo, even from our good friends. And we are still dealing, even at this moment, with accusations of genocide on the international stage. So I want to make it clear, there is no fake commitment. If we commit not to fight, we won't be able to return to fight in Gaza. As a condition for ending the war, Hamas demands a complete withdrawal of the IDF from the Strip, including withdrawal from the Philadelphia route and the security zone, which protects the residents of Israel from Hamas terror. And I want to ask you, did our fighters fight in vain? Did our heroes fall and get injured in vain? In both Lebanon and Syria, we established security zones to protect the residents of the north. And the implication of withdrawing from the security zone in the Gaza Strip is that in a short time, Hamas will rebuild its terror army and will be able to resume mass kidnappings and further massacres of Israeli citizens. It is my duty as Prime Minister to prevent this, and I am indeed preventing it. I believe that we can bring back our captives without succumbing to Hamas's dictates. This is how I have acted until now. You know that in one of the first cabinet discussions during the war, perhaps the first, a senior official in the security establishment said that we might have to get used to the fact that we might not succeed in bringing back even one captive. I thought differently. I believe that the combination of military pressure and diplomatic pressure would indeed lead to the release of our captives. Many did not believe it, but to this day we have brought back 196 captives, of which 147 are alive. In Gaza, 24 captives are still held alive, and 35 captives are deceased. The mission is not yet complete, and I intend to complete it without surrendering to Hamas. Since the outbreak of the war, including in recent days, my wife and I have met and talked with many of the families of the captives. We will continue to meet all of them, just as we have been doing since the beginning of the war. I meet the people. I understand the severe anguish of the dear families, of the fathers and mothers, brothers and sisters, and the wives. I feel their immense pain. I hear the cry of their hearts. It tears my heart apart. We will increase the pressure on Hamas until we achieve all the objectives of the war. And I reiterate, we will not give up on any captive, alive or deceased. We are determined to bring everyone home. Citizens of Israel, we are in the midst of a multi-front war, a war like no other. Thanks to the bravery of our courageous fighters, the tremendous spirit of our people, and the firm policy implemented by the government under my leadership, we have achieved great accomplishments. However, the tasks are not yet complete, and we are determined to finish them. With the conclusion of the Festival of Freedom and the transition to the Mimuna Festival, and on the eve of Memorial and Independence Days, which unite our people, I say, great challenges still lie ahead, and we will overcome them. We can do it because we do it together. We will do it with determination, with strength, with faith, and with the great spirit that beats within our people. Together we will stand. Together we will fight, and with God's help, together we will stand. Together we will fight, and with God's help,